covering the topic of simple interest and of non-annual compounding, and we'll end up with the topic of simple annual growth rate and compounded annual growth rate, also known as SHER and CAGR. Now let's look at some of the basic terms which are very important to the understanding of simple interest and compound interest. The first one being the principal. So principal is basically the initial sum that is invested, or the initial money that you start your investment with. That is known as principal. Amount is basically the final money that you get after growth. So initial value principal, final value amount. Rate of interest is basically the growth that is happening over the principal to give you your final amount. It is expressed in percentage term. That means how much increment has happened over the principal to give you your amount. Interest is the sum by which the principal increases. You have invested something initially and you've got your final amount. So the difference between the final amount and the initial principal is known as interest. That means your initial investment has increased with interest. Time period T, it's the interval after which the growth is calculated. Generally it is in years. So let's get started and talk about the case of simple interest. Simple interest, as the name suggests, is very simple to understand and calculate. The interest in any time period is calculated as a percentage of the initial amount. This is the most important thing, initial amount invested. So whatever is your initial investment, over the years, your interest will always be calculated on the initial investment. Whereas in the case of compound interest, the interest in any time period is calculated as a percentage of the amount outstanding. So if I just look at the initial amount and the amount outstanding at the start of the time period, that is basically the difference between simple interest and compound interest. The interest is on the initial principal all the time in case of simple, whereas the interest is on the amount that is at present there in case of a compound interest, and it is not on the initial investment. Let's understand simple interest in a better way. So if I say simple interest for the first year, I'm talking about the first year. I'm getting an R% rate. The rate is always on the initial principal that I've started with. So if I just calculate it, the rate is converted into fraction and multiplied with P. What is the rate for the first year? It will be written as PR by 100. That is the value that has been mentioned here. Now for a second year also, the rate that I will be getting will always be on the initial principal that I've started up with, which will not change over the due course of time. Third year also, the rate that I'm calculating is on the initial principal and so on. So that means I need not calculate simple interest for every year separately. The simple interest for first year will be equal to the simple interest for second year, will be equal to the simple interest for third year, for fourth year, for fifth year, and so on. So if my investment horizon is for 10 years, for all the 10 years, I'll be getting an interest which is equal to PR by 100. Whatever was the rate of interest for the whatever was the interest for the first year, the same interest I'll be getting for 10 years to follow. So simple interest remains same for every year, as the principal and the rate of interest are not changing. So simple interest, this is the interest for 1 year. I am getting it for all the years, so I am multiplying it with T, which is basically the number of years, to give me a formula which is P into R into T by 100. P, as we have already understood, is principal, which is in rupees. R is the rate of interest, which is expressed in percentage per year. T is the number of years for which the investment has been done. In case the rates are varying every year, it is not necessary that the rates would remain same. In case the rates are varying, obviously the simple interest would not remain same and it would vary around the years as well. So the simple interest for first year will be calculated as rate on the initial principal. For second year will be the rate for the second year on the initial principal. Now the thing that you need to notice is your initial principal would always remain the same. So in this case, the rates are not same, so interest are not equal all through the years. The total interest will be the sum of the individual interest of each year. Simple interest for 1 year, simple interest for second year, simple interest for third year. The total simple interest would be the sum of all these sum of all the interest. Now, coming back to a concept that we've just learned, amount. Amount is the final money that I get. So amount would be equal to the initial principal that I started up with and the total interest that has been accumulated over the years. In case R is constant for every year, I hope you remember the formula now. It is P into R into T by 100. This is the simple interest for 1 year, multiplied with T years, so as to get the total simple interest and add it to the principal to give you your final amount that you will get. In case R is different every year, I'll calculate interest every year, I'll add them to the principal, and that will get me my final amount. Let's take an example. Let me suppose I started with an initial amount of 1,000 and the rate of interest was 10%. By default, if nothing is written, we'll assume it's a per annum rate, and I've invested 1,000 rupees at a 10% rate for 4 years. So year 1, I've invested 1,000 rupees. I would get 10% on 1,000. So if I calculate my 10% on 1,000, the interest that I'm getting is 100 rupees. So the simple interest for the first year is 100, added to my principal to give me my final amount at the end of 1 year as 1,100. Still, in the second year, if I look at it, my principal would not be considered as 1,100, though that is the money that is there in my account. I will get the interest on 1,000 only. So if the principal is not changing and the rate of interest is not changing, the simple interest would not change. So simple interest for second year would still be 100. If I take out the money after 2 years, I will have my principal for the first year, simple interest for the first year, and simple interest for the second year added into my account. Even for the third year, the principal and the simple interest would not change. For the fourth year, the principal and the simple interest would not change. My initial principal is the principal that is taken as the initial value for all the years. So if I look at it, simple interest for all the years, if the rates are not changing and if the if the rates are not changing, would remain constant. So I need not calculate simple interest for all the years. 1 year is good enough for me. If I compare the same case in a compound interest scenario, look how the things change. I started with an initial principal of 1,000. The rate was 10 years. The time was 4 years. For the first year, obviously 1,000 will be treated as my initial principal. I will get rate on the initial principal that I started up with. So 10% on 1,000 comes up to 100, added into my account because this is the interest that I have earned for 1 year leading up to 1,100. In the second year, I would not take 1,000 as the principal. Whatever is the amount in my account, whatever is the outstanding amount, will be treated as principal for the second year. It's like output of first is taken as input for second. Output of second will be taken as input of third. Something similar to the concept of successive percentage change that we have studied in the topic of percentage. So into this 1,000, I add the interest. Now interest will be 10% on 1,100. If I calculate 10% on 1,100, it's 110. This compound interest is added into my account, giving me a value of 1210. In the third year, 1210, which is the amount for the second year, will be treated as principal. I'll get interest of 10% on this, and the final amount at the end of the third year is again then taken as a principal for the fourth year, 10% on this amount, adding up to a final value of 1461. Now, if you have noticed, the compound interest for all the years is not same. The compound interest is varying every year. Compound interest for first year will be the least, second year higher, third year even more higher. As we go on, the compound interest keeps on increasing because the principal value that I am taking goes on increasing. If I compare both of them side by side, I have invested 1,000 rupees in both the cases at 10% for 4 years. I look at the final amount. In the first year, the amount is same. The interest is also same. Reason being, the principal amount was the same. The difference starts from the second year. So if you have to invest for 1 year, you invested at SI or CI, it hardly matters because you will be ending up with the same amount. In the second year, it makes a difference. CI for second year is more than SI for second year. Reason solely being the principal of CI is greater than the principal of SI. This difference goes on increasing as we move on. So let's look at the difference point of view. The first year, there's no difference as we have discussed. Second year, if you look at it, that there's a 10 rupee difference in this particular example, which increases to 31 in the third year and 64.1 in the fourth year. So imagine if you would have invested this for 20 years, there have been huge difference in case of compound interest and simple interest. So if you have to invest, obviously compound interest is always a better option because you get interest on the increased principal rather than on the initial principal that you have started with. Right? So if I now have to, write down the compound thing in a formula, the formula for compound interest would be amount. That means the final value is equal to initial value into 1 plus R by 100 raised to power T. This T is basically the number of years for which the investment is happening, and R is your rate of interest rate of interest in per annum, P is the principal, and A is the amount. The simple thing that we have studied till now. So this formula, if you look at it, this formula is the formula that gives us the value of the final amount depending upon the initial principal that you started with and the rate that you are getting per year. If you have to find out compound interest, you will obviously have to subtract amount and principal. So compound interest would be whatever is your final amount minus the initial principal that you started up with. If I write the formula for amount, P into 1 plus R by 100 raised to power T minus P, this formula will be applicable when the rate is same for every year. That is why I am doing raised to power T, because the rate is same for every year. In case the rate varies, I will not do this raised to power T. I will multiply the multiplying factor for different years. So basically, if you remember, we have done a concept of multiplying factors when we were doing our topic of percentage. What is 1 plus R by 100? This is the multiplying factor for year 1. Multiplied with the initial value gives me the final value for year 1. The final value for year 1 act as a principal for year 2. So this is your multiplying factor for year 2 applied on the initial value for year 2 to give you an answer of final value of year 2. The multiplying factor for year 3 applied on the initial value of year 3, which is actually equal to the final value of year 2, to give you your answer at the end of year 3, and so on. So this is basically the amount minus the principal, the initial principal that you started up with, will give you your compound interest in a case where R varies every year. So if I have to now compare CI and SI for different years, I know obviously that CI for second year is greater than SI for second year, and in the subsequent year the difference will go on increasing. Only for the first year, CI for the first year is equal to SI for the first year, and both of them can be equated to PR by 100. Whereas following years, the compound interest will always be greater than simple interest. Reason being, my principal is more. So if I just put the formulas and solve it out, I get this relationship: PR by 100 whole square. So that is a thing that needs to be remembered. For the third year, again the principal for the third year in case of compounding will be much more than the principal for the simple interest case. This is the compound interest for the third year and this is the simple interest for 3 years. So if I subtract them, I'll get the formula which gives me the difference between the compound interest and simple interest for 3 years. Now let's look at some of the examples so that the concept becomes even more clear to us. What is given to you in the question is simple interest for second year is 600, compound interest for second year is 660. Obviously there's a difference between compound interest for the second year and simple interest for the second year, and this difference in this case comes out to be 60 rupees. I know the formula that 60 is equal to PR by 100 whole square. I've just learned the formula that it is this value equal to. The question is asking me find out the value of P and R. If I just go back to the concept, I know simple interest for first year will be equal to simple interest for second year, will be equal to simple interest for all the years, and obviously this will also be equal to compound interest for first year, which comes out to be 600. So if I look at it, the compound interest for first year was 600, the compound interest for second year is 660. So this 60 difference that I have, if I just again use the formula, I'll split this formula like this: PR by 100, PR by 100. What is this value? This value is actually equal to the compound interest for first year, or simple interest for first year, or simple interest for second year, which is actually what? 600. 600 into R by 100 is equal to 60. Solving the equations, you will get R is equal to 10%. So the rate that is there every year is 10%. If I put back the value of rate in this equation, not in this equation, in the initial equation that I have, I will get my answer. So if I put 60 is equal to P, it is 10 by 100 whole square. The answer that I'll get 60 P, if you just solve the equations, it will be basically P into 1 by 100. So the value of P that you get is 6,000. So if you start with 6,000 rupees and you get an interest of 10% every year, your SI and CI would be the cases that have been given in an example. Let's look at another example. 7th year CI is 600 and 8th year CI is 660. Find R, find the rate. Basically it's something like this. In the 7th year you have got 600, in the 8th year you have got 660. This 60 rupees is basically the difference that you have earned, right? If you would have understood the concept by now, the difference between the CI and SI is basically because I'm getting interest on interest. So this 60 rupees difference is basically because of the interest on the compound interest for the first year. Solving the equations, I get R again equals to 10%. Now if I compare both the cases in one window, I would look at the principal in the first year remains the same. So if I calculate the simple interest or compound interest for the first year, it will come out to be same. Reason being, the initial amount that is invested in both the cases is 1,000. So if you have to invest for 1 year, you do it at SI or you do it at CI, it does not make a difference. But when we come into the second year, it makes a great amount of difference. The principal in case of SI is still 1,000, whereas in case of CI, the principal will be 1,100. Now if I look at the compound interest, the compound year interest is 110. This 110 compound interest is on 1,100. If I break 1,100, I can write it as 1,000 plus 100. What is this 1,000? This is the initial principal. This 100 is the first year interest. I get interest on this principal. So basically if I calculate 10% of 1,000 will be 100. That is anyways there in case of simple interest, and 10% on this additional 1,000 contributes to the value of 10. So basically if I look at the difference which is there in compound interest and simple interest for second year, which is 10 rupees. This 10 rupees is because of the interest on the first year interest. We call it as interest on interest. This is the interest on the first year interest that you have accrued. Similarly, in the third year, this 1210, which is the original principal, is actually your 1000, which is your original principal, plus 100, which is the interest for the first year, 110, which is the interest for the second year. So the interest that you're getting on this 1000 will be 100. The difference which is there, which is the difference of, if you look at it, the difference which is there, which is a difference of 31 rupees. 31 rupee difference which is created. This is the total difference which is there. If I just look at the third year, the third year difference is 21 rupee, the second year difference is 10 rupee. So the total difference which is created is a 31 rupee difference. So if I just look at it, this 21 rupee difference is basically because of the interest on the first year interest and interest on the second year interest. This contributes to the difference. Similarly, in the third year, this 33.31 difference which is there is basically because of the interest on the first year, on the second year and on the third year interest. The concept is interest on the previous interest, which actually increases your value. The total difference that is there after 4 years is of the difference of 64.1. Second year there's a difference of 10, third year there's a difference of 21, fourth year there's a difference of 33. So if you look at it, the difference is increasing every year. Compound interest and simple interest, they will differ every year, the difference being the highest in the last year. If I have to look at the formula for compound interest, the amount in case of compound interest will be equal to principal, which will be the initial value, into 1 plus r by 100. 1 plus r by 100 is basically the multiplying factor with which we'll multiply the initial value to get to our final value. Since the multiplying factor remains the same because the rate remains the same, I raise it to a power t because the same thing is happening for t years. R is the rate and t is the time period in years. If I have to calculate simple interest would be amount minus the principal. I know the formula for amount. I subtract the initial principal for it. That will give me my compound interest for what? T years. Now this compound interest will not be same every year, so cannot be divided equally among all the years, unlike the case of simple interest. If the rates are changing every year, I will not be able to raise to the power t. I'll be multiplying different multiplying factors for each year to get to a final value. So initial value into the factor for first year, the factor for second year, the factor for third year would give me my amount at the end of n years. Subtract principal from it to get to a value of your compound interest. So if you basically look at it, principal into 1 plus r by 100 gives you the amount for the first year. Amount for the first year act as a principal for second year. So the second year multiplying factor is applied on the answer for the first year. If I apply this will be the answer for the second year, which will act as the initial principal for the third year, and so on. So if I compare simple interest and compound interest, simple interest and compound interest for the second year, for second year or for 2 years, it's one as the same thing, because simple interest for the first year remains same. So the difference between 2 years or the second year, simple interest could be remembered as P r square by 100 or P r by 100 whole square. Similarly, for 3 years, the difference between the simple interest and the compound interest would be given by the amount for 3 years minus the principal, CI for 3 years minus the SI for 3 years. So I will lead back to this answer. Let's look at some of the examples that will help us to understand the concept better. Given that SI for second year is 600, CI for second year is 660, find the P and R, find the principal and the rate. I know SI for all the years remain the same, so SI for the first year will also be 600. That means CI for the first year will also be 600, and in general I know it is equal to PR by 100. Now what is given to me? It is given to me that the CI for second year minus SI for second year is 60. And I remember the formula PR by 100 whole square. Let me split the formula as P R by 100 and R by 100. Now this value, I can treat it as the simple interest for first year or the simple interest for second year, which is given to me as 600 into R by 100 equals to 60. Just solving this, I'll get the value of R as 10. So it's a 10% rate which is offered to me per annum. Putting it back into the equation, I get 60 is equal to P R by 100 whole square. So just solving it, the value of P that you will get would be 6000. I hope the question is clear. Another question. Compound interest for the 7th year is 600. Compound interest for the 8th year is 660. Find the rate. Now if you remember, it is basically the interest on interest that creates the difference. So between the two interests that are there, CI for 7 and CI for 8, it's a 60 rupee difference. This difference will be basically because of the interest on the previous interests. So what is the previous interest? Previous interest is 600. The difference is 60. R percent on 600 is 60. You get the value of R if you solve it out as 10%. When we are talking about the case of SI, the initial money that you have started up with obviously grows. Let's understand the growth pattern in case of SI with the help of a single example. I have invested some money, and after 8 years I am getting double of it. So this is the principal, this is the amount after 8 years that I have. So that means in 8 years I have accrued an interest if I solve it, I have accrued an interest which is equal to amount minus principal, which is equal to P. So I've got P rupees more in 8 years. Now in case of simple interest, the interest remains same. So that means in next 8 years, I will still earn the same interest. That means it will be P. I am not looking into account what will be the principal. I'll be looking at it what will be the initial principal. So initial principal is P. I will get my interest on P. If the rates are not changing, the interest will not change. So interest for first 8 years is P. For next 8 years will still be P. For next 8 years again P. I'll get 4P. For next 8 years again P. For next 8 years again P. For next 8 years again P. And for next 8 years again P. So there's a equal interest which is added over a same period of time. So my money, if I start with P, my money grows to 8 times in a period of 56 years. So that means 8 years time span, and there are 7 such periods that are happening. If I take the same case in case of CI, let's look at it. It's only taking me 24 years, whereas it was 56 years in case of SI. In case of CI, P becomes double of it in the 8 years. So that means the money becomes double in 8 years. For the next 8 years, this will be treated as the principal and the money will become double. For next 8 years, this will be treated as principal and the money will become double. As simple as that. So in a time span of 24 years, the money becomes 8 times the original, unlike the case of SI where it took 56 years for the same growth. Let's understand it with the help of an example. The amount gets doubled in 6 years. So let me say you have P, and in 6 years it becomes 2P. So, and this is happening at SI. Similar question, that means P is added in 6 years. If you want P to give you a value of 8P, so that means 7P has to be added. P is getting added in 6 years. Next 6 years P, next 6 years P, 7P, it will take me 7 into 6, 42 years for the money to become 8 times of the original. Same case in CI. P becomes 2P in 6 years. 2P will become 4P in another 6 years. 4p will become 8p in another 6 years. So total it is taking me only 18 years for the money to become 8 times of the original. Look at the time difference which is there. If you want, you can remember the simple formulas for the same. However, without the formulas, the question turns out to be simpler. The amount get x time in t years. So it was something like the amount becomes double in 6 years. In how many years? It will get y time. So that means p will become 8p in how many years? So basically, the formula would be y minus 1. Y minus 1 means 8 minus 1. I am negating the principal and I am only looking at the interest. This is 7, this is 1. So this is plus p, this is plus 7p. So I need 7 times. The time will be multiplied with 7. The initial time frame will be multiplied by 7 to give me my answer. In case of CI, the shortcut formula is, I'll look at the same example. I'll basically look at the two things, which is 8 and 2. Which power of 2 is equal to 8? This is the value of n. X raised to power n is equal to y. This is the original amount. This is the final amount. Which power of original is equal to final is what I have to look. Cube. So my final answer will be this value into the time taken in the original case. So the time taken in the original case was, if you remember, 6 years. So my answer will be 18 years. Another very important concept is compounding frequency. Compounding frequency means how frequently the compounding is done. The cases that we have done till now have been the cases of annual compounding. That means the interest is calculated per year and added into your account at the end of the year. If I talk about a compounding frequency in a semi-annual mode, that means interest will not be calculated at the end of the year, but interest will be calculated at the end of 6 months and added to my account. Let's understand it with the help of an example. I'm taking the same example. I've started with 1000 rupees. The rate is 10% per annum and the time is 4 years. But the compounding now is happening semi-annually. So if the compounding is happening semi-annually, I will convert this per annum rate into a semi-annum rate. The rate would be divided by the number of time periods in a year. In a year, you have 2 semi-annuals. So a rate of per annum would be divided by 2 to give you a rate per semi-annum. The questions that, the things have to be solved in a similar manner. So for the first half year, your principal will be 1000. Your interest will be 10% on 1000. So your interest that you will get would be 50 rupees. Added it to your account after 6 months. So in the beginning of the 7th month, the amount in your account which will be treated as principal will not be 1000, it will be 1050. For the next 6 months, the principal will be 1050. The interest of 10% will be calculated on 1050 and added it to my account. So if I just go with this, the interest that I will get, which is a 5% interest per annum, will be calculated on 1050, which turns out to be 52.5, added into my account for 1102. Similarly, for the beginning of the second year, that means for the first half of the second year, the amount that will act as a principal will be 1102. My interest will be on that. Whatever is the interest will be added into my account at the end of the 18 months or 1.5 year, which will act as a principal. For the beginning of the second half of the second year. So similarly, the amounts will be calculated basis upon the money that is there in my account. The same thing I am now doing in a quarterly thing. Quarter means the rate of 10% would be converted into a quarterly rate. In a year, there are 4 quarters. So this rate would be divided equally among 4 quarters. The rate that I get is a 2.5% rate, which is a per quarter rate. In the first quarter, my principal will be 1000. I'll get my interest of 2.5% on 1000 added into my account. For the beginning of the second quarter, my principal will change. and therefore my interest, and therefore my account. If you look at the beginning of each quarter, the principal in my account is increasing and therefore the interest goes on increasing. If I compare the case at the end of 1 year, 4 quarters means 1 year, the money that I had in a compounding case was 1100. The money that I had in a previous case of semi-annual compounding was 1102. The case in case of quarterly is more than the annual compounding and semi-annual compounding. Similarly, this figure of 1218 is more in comparison to the annual compounding amount that I'll have in my account, which is 1210, and the semi-annual compounding amount that I will have. So, the more the compounding frequency, the more is the interest, and therefore the more the amount that you end up with. The higher the compounding frequency, the better it is for the end user, because it will be more interest that the user would be able to get out of the investment that he or she has made. If I look at a case of monthly compounding, the amount at the end of 1 year and 2 year would be even much more than the case of quarterly. So in case, the compounding is not happening annually, the rate has to be divided with the number of time periods. If it's a semi-annual rate, N will be 2. If it is a quarterly compounding, N will be 4. If it is a monthly compounding, N will be 12. If it's a weekly, it will be 52, and if it's daily, it depends upon the year. It could be 365 and 366 depending upon the leap year. Amount, principal plus simple interest. Simple interest, this R is per annum. It is calculated as per the compounding frequency. In case of CI also, this R will not be the one that I will take, because this rate is getting changed. This value of time would also be converted into the number of time periods. So if I talk about a quarter, the compounding is not happening once in a year. It is happening 4 times in a year. So T was a number of years, would be converted into number of quarters. The rate would be a quarterly rate, and the time would also be in the time periods where I am calculating the compounding frequency. The last thing that we'll be discussing in this topic would be simple annual growth rate and compounded annual growth rate. Very important from a data interpretation point of view, because you get a lot of questions on it. SAGR and CAGR are simple applications of simple interest rate and compound interest rate. So if you remember simple interest, P plus P into R into 100. So if with this value, amount will be taken as the final value, P will be taken as principal. If I calculate this rate following the formula of simple interest is known as simple annual growth rate. A minus P, this is basically the simple interest, divided with the principal into 100 over T would give me my value of R. It's a simple, formula thing. In case of compounded annual growth rate, it is basically the formula of compound interest that I will be using, which is amount is equal to principal into 1 plus R by 100 raised to power T. The R value that I could get filling in the values of amount and the principal is the R that is referred to as compounded annual growth rate.